Hello and welcome to lesson 2 of the Preparatory Piano Tutor Book. In this lesson there are 4 teaching aims in total. First of all, you will learn about the fermata sign. Secondly, you will learn about the RAL sign. Then your third teaching point will be to learn about the R-tempo sign. And then finally, you will learn about the octave sign. So let's start straight away by explaining about the fermata sign. So this is live RAL with the dot inside is known as the fermata sign. It's known also as the pause sign. So when you see this sign in a piece of music, it instructs the player to hold on to the note just a little bit longer. So you have the opportunity in the tutor book to practice writing some of those fermata signs, and then you have the opportunity of trying to play a fermata within a piece of music. So this piece of music is called Experimenting with Dynamics. So as well as experimenting with dynamics, you'll also see that there is a fermata sign at bar 14 in the book. So let's have a look at some of these dynamics before you hear the performance. So you'll see here the piece begins with a double F sign. Now that stands for fortissimo, very loud. Then if you go through to bar 5, you'll see you've got the pianissimo sign, very, very quiet. So you can see that the piece fluctuates from very loud to very quiet, very quickly. But you've also got at bar 11 the MF sign. Now look closely when I play this piece of music, particularly when you get to the bar where I've put the fermata sign in. And you'll see what I do, I will hold on for a little bit longer, and I tend to take a deep breath before launching myself into the final part of the piece. The other thing I do need to mention is that it has got this crossover action. Now you have seen that action before when we've explained that in one of the older tutor books. So have a look through the tutor books that you've seen before for the previous grades, and you'll see there's that section which talks about the crossover. Okay, so here's experimenting with dynamics. So now we move on to the second sign, which is the RAL sign. So when you see the word RAL in a piece of music, it instructs the player to slow down. So the word RAL is short for rallentando. Now if you have a look at your exercise 1, you will notice that there's a RAL written right at the end of this exercise here. So do make sure when you play it, you do slow down a little bit at the end. Other things that are worthy of mention in this piece is you've got the word andante at the beginning, which means at a walking pace. And also you'll notice that the piece is in the key of F major, linking in with the new scale that you've just learned for this grade. So moving on to the third sign. The third sign that you're going to learn is a sign called the R tempo sign. So sometimes an R tempo sign follows a RAL sign. If you have a look at the exercise that you've got written in your tutor book, you will see that there's a RAL sign at bar 3. And then an R tempo sign is written at bar 5. This instructs the player to slow down at bar 3, but then you go back to the original speed at bar 5. Now this exercise here needs a little bit of explanation about fingering and positioning on the piano. Because if you look, you'll notice that the first 2 notes that you play is G to B. And so you're putting finger 2 on the B. Now this needs to be carried on through the whole of this piece on the first line. You'll also notice as well that this piece is in the key of G major, so you've got an F sharp in your key signature. So you need to be very careful that you don't miss out the F sharp, particularly at bar 2 and 3 in the right hand. So I'm just going to show you this technique in the right hand first, so you get the idea of how you play this. Then you make the next gap, you see. Then you make the next gap again. So that's the first problem that you're going to encounter in this piece, and I think it would be a good idea for you to do a little bit of right hand practice on that to get that technique sorted out first. The left hand isn't a problem because you're just playing stepwise, moving up. So the first line of this piece goes like this. And did you see how I did the RAL and I slowed down at the end of that line? Now, when you move on to bar 5, the left hand becomes problematic. And so this is the point where you need to do a little bit of left hand practice. Now, if you look carefully, you will see at bar 5 that the left hand actually forms a scale of G major. So you play through that scale first, and then after that, you follow the fingering very, very carefully. So I will show you the left hand now so you can see that. So together in the second line, this is how the song goes. You'll also notice that you've got the word allegro at the beginning, so that means fast. So here's the full performance now. So as I explained before, do break this piece down and do lots of separate hand practice on that, because it is a very tricky little exercise to play. So finally, we now move on to our last piece called Tasting the Sugar Candy Bar. Now in this piece, you will notice at bar 10, it's got a little bracket with an 8 VA on it. Now that stands for play an octave higher than written. So normally it suggests you play it here, but what you're doing instead, you're going up an extra octave to here. See? So you're playing this an octave higher than written. Now, other little ideas and little things that you need to look out for in this piece. First of all, you've got the word allegretto, which is fairly fast. You've got the fermata at bar 11. You've got the R tempo sign at bar 12. And if you look on the last line, you will see there's quite a few little fermatas in it. Now, I've actually composed this piece and based it on a sugar candy bar. Now, when my son was younger, he actually gave me one of these sugar candy bars, and they had like sherbet in the middle. And so when you eat them at first, you think, oh, that's quite nice, that's quite nice. But then the sherbet hits you and you go, whoo, like that, and it gives you a bit of a shock. And that's why the dynamics have been written the way that they have. Because right at the very end, where the double F sign is, that's where the sherbet is. And so that's the shock, really. So that's how you sort of play this piece. Imagine you're eating this sugar candy bar, like this. So you can hear the shock at the end, can't you, on the very last note, and that's the sherbet. And that completes all of your lesson 2.